So after the lesson, I will also post, so this is actually yesterday's lesson. And then I'm gonna add today's right under it. But we will work on the practice, which you also received yesterday. I don't really make many copies for this class because there's only 19 of you. So if you ever lose your papers, they're in Schoology, or if it's a note paper, then take it on a separate paper and make sure you save it. Because we will start having, come unit test time, we will start having binder tests in this class too, just so you know. So make sure you're keeping your note sheets, and if you're losing them, make sure you're going to Schoology and copying them on your own paper. All right, but the practice is different. So the practice you turn in on Schoology, or if I give you class time, I usually will come around with my clipboard and give you points for whatever you got done so far. But you can always upload it to Schoology for the full points if you do finish it later. I don't know if we'll get to the Kahoot today, but if we do, it'll be, the link will be provided once we've done it in case you want to go home and practice more. They do have a practice feature. You just have to make an account, and then you can like look up other Kahoots and practice those. So it's a great study tool. We are planning for a quiz in algebra, probably Thursday, but we'll just see how long that lesson takes. So Thursday or Friday might be the quiz. Just plan for it to be Thursday, just in case. And then after lesson 12, I'm supposed to give the unit 2 mid-unit assessment in algebra. So I know that seems weird to have two quizzes pretty close to each other, but just know that I have to give this one per district, and we will look at that. Probably Monday, but we'll just have to. And that's it for the slide. So now on to the lesson, that note sheet that we started yesterday. So just to kind of recap what we did. We introduced ourselves to solving inequalities. So when I say that I'm solving for something, I'm trying to get the variable by itself. So copy it on the note sheet I'm trying to get the variable by itself. So really it is no different from the equation, except for the fact that it's an inequality symbol. You just bring down the inequality symbol like an equal sign, and you only flip it when you multiply or divide a negative on each side of the symbol. So it doesn't matter, like in these first two equations, that there was a negative here. It would have to be done on both sides to count. So that's why we did not flip the symbol in there. Questions on that part? All right, so then on the back side, we'll do a few more examples. So let's try example 11 together. All right, so number 11, I want to get the x by itself, just like in a normal equation. So what would I do first? Subtract 8 is correct. And whatever you do on one side, do to the other side. So treat it like an equal sign. Whatever you do on one side of the equal sign, you do to the other. So on the left, I have negative 7x. I do not flip the sign for addition or subtraction, so just leave it the same. And then what's 1 minus 8? Negative 7 is correct. Now, what is opposite of multiplying by negative 7? Now, whenever you go one side, you go to the other. Do I have to flip the sign in that instance? Did I multiply or did I divide a negative on each side of the symbol? Good, I divided a negative on each side. So that there, this action right here on each side of the symbol means that I need to flip the symbol. So it'll still have the line underneath, or if it didn't have one, then it still won't have one. But it just which is side. Because what happens when you like divide a negative by negative? It becomes a positive, and in this one it becomes a positive 1. So the sign changes. That's why the inequality flips. When you multiply or divide a negative, the sign changes, and now it needs to show like the difference in that relationship. All right, take like 10 seconds yourself and graph this solution on a number line. While I take a second. All right, and if you graphed the inequality correctly, it should look something like this. So usually if you have to make your own number line, just put whatever number X is compared to in the middle. To the right should be numbers bigger. To the left should be numbers smaller, so like a normal traditional number line. Circle goes on whatever number you're comparing it to. Will this one be a closed or open circle? And will it go to the left or to the right? To the right is correct, because we're saying that X is greater than or equal to 1. So like 2 is greater than or equal to 1. 4 is greater than or equal to 1. That's the direction where X is greater. Make sense? All right, which of any of these on the back do you think we need to see before I have you try a couple on your own? Number 20. So again, treat it like an equation. When we did the two-step equations, we always started with what's farther from the X. So in 20, what's farther, the 11 or the -2? And right now it's being divided by -2. What's opposite of that? So we're going to times each side by -2. Do I need to flip the inequality symbol when I do that? Well, what's the rule? Do you flip the symbol when you when you multiply or divide by a negative on each side? So then, did I multiply a negative on each side? Yes, I multiplied that -2. So do flip that sign. Now instead of less than, it is greater than. I know that will trick some people on the unit test. Don't let it trick you. On the right, what's -2 times -2? +4. X is not by itself, so we're not done. What's opposite of adding 11? Did I redo on one side? Do to the other. So then I have X greater than, what's 4 minus 11? -7. And that one I did not need to flip the sign because all I did was subtract. So just the one flipping. So then what number should go in the middle of my number line? The -7. What number should go to the right of it? -6, then -5, then -4. Those are all bigger. So the left should be smaller. So what should this be? Good. And then -10. Open or close circle on the -7? Good. And should it face the left or the right if X is greater? To the right. All right. And then plug in just to kind of see -4 is greater than -7. So we have the correct graph. All right, I'm going to give you a couple to try. So I'll have you try 19. I'll have you try 18. And just those two for right now. Normally I'd just project the answers for the U-Try, but let's actually do them together because they are meant to be more challenging. So goal is to get the x by itself. What would I get rid of on the left side? The 6. How can I make that 0? 6 plus 6 is 12. So I would actually have to subtract. And if you were thinking like opposite of subtraction, think of it more, what can I do to make that 0? All right. So yeah, you use the opposite of what's done, but we want it to cancel. And whatever you do on one side, you do the other. So what's 6 minus 6? 0, which really cancels. So I don't need to write 0 minus x. I just have the negative x on the left. Do I need to flip the sign? No, because all I did was subtract. On the right was 14 minus 6. 8. Is the x by itself? What's next to it that needs to go away? The negative sign. How can I cancel that out? By a negative 1 is what I got. All right, because what's the coefficient if it's not written? The coefficient is number in front of the variable. So what's the number in front if it's not written down? It's a 1, not a 0, and it wouldn't be there at all. So then negative 1 divided by negative 1 cancels. So now x is by itself. Do I need to flip the sign? Yes, because I divided a negative on each side. So flip the sign. 8 divided by negative 1 is negative 8. So make sure that the opening is facing the correct way. We did have to flip the sign in that one. And then your number line would look something like this. Would I have a closed or open circle? And would it go to the left or to the right? Oh, and that should be negative, sorry, which means that should be, sorry. So negative 8, negative 7 to the right, so that would be smaller. Negative 6, negative 5. And then to the left should be big, smaller. So just all backwards. All right, the negative 8, negative 9, negative 10, and then negative 11. Sorry. And what way should the arrow go? To the right. So those would be numbers bigger than negative. All right, questions on 18. All right, so then 19, testing you on those fractions again. Still working to get the x by itself. So how would I cancel out that 4 that is next to it? I would subtract it. Think about what you need to do to make it 0. And then do the same to the other side. So on the left, I have negative 1/3 x greater than what's 11 minus 4? 7. Now, how can I cancel out the negative 1/3? Times by 2. Good. So multiplying by the reciprocal can cancel out any fraction. All right, that's something we covered in the equations lesson. There is a long explanation that I could give you, but that cancels it out. So 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. Negative 1 times 3 is negative 3. So that cancels. Do I need to flip the sign for that? Yes. Because even though the negative is in the denominator, it doesn't matter. It's still there. So I'm basically multiplying by a negative 3, if you also did that. But since it's in fraction form, I'll just multiply straight across. But 7 times 3 21, and then divided by -1 is -20. So that would be your answer to that inequality. Your number line would then look something like this. To the right should be numbers bigger. To the left should be numbers smaller. Kind of like squeeze it on there so they will fall. Where should the circle go on what number? Good, open or close? Open because it doesn't have that little line underneath. So -21 is not included in the answer, so it's open. And should it go to the left or to the right? To the left, that's where the numbers are smaller than -20. Good, any questions? Any other requests on the note sheet before I let you practice on your own? All right, so yeah, we don't have to fill out the whole note sheet, I think, so I think we're good there, unless you have a specific request of what you want to see. Your practice, I don't know if I have it on this slide. Oh, your practice looks like this, you got it yesterday. I will have you do all of them because we put the time to. And if you want to check your answers, which you should, just as you go, making sure that you're doing it right. Look on this wall back here. There is a couple others from the past. The one that we're doing right now is the solving and graphing inequalities. So work on that. If you lost the paper, it is in Schoology, so let me show you. I don't make many copies for this class, so here's this week's folder in Schoology. If you click on, well, today's the 20th, so it'd be under here. Click on the practice. I always upload the file to Schoology. It's under the rubric, so that's why I feel like people can't find it. And then you can just do it on your own. So that gives you 35 minutes of class time to work on it. I feel like that should be enough to get it done. I will come around with my clipboard and check toward the end of class. So if you finish early, then that's a great time to maybe work on that remediation that you've been needing to work on, or any other missing puzzles. So today will just kind of be a relaxed day. We'll probably do this tomorrow. Yeah.